This is emotion art. Life is emotion art. Welcome. Okay, this is a conversation that I had with a brand new friend, new to me, Justin, aka Justoneus, spelled just one us. I like the play on words. And Justoneus is a lot of fun and creative. You'll hear more about that. Enjoy.
Welcome to Emotion Art.
Emotion art, where we sit down and make art
with our emotions.
Emotion Art.
Creative energy moving outward in conscious expression of feeling.
Emotion art.
Emotion art.
Emotion Art.
Emotion because we are literally made of emotion. Art because everything we do wants to be art. Emotion art feels.
Emotion Art. It's all beautiful. Emotion Art. Emotion Art.
A space for emotional art. Creative energy moving outward in conscious expression.
Emotion Art.
An emotion art gallery.
This
is emotion art.
You're welcome. Justoneus,
Michael,
welcome to this place.
great to be here. You got a nice little spot.
Yeah, Angela's massage studio has so much good energy, which makes everything nicer here.
Absolutely.
Our 15-year-old, his friend, you're his dad.
Indeed.
And I just went, now that I am not driving to Portland every day, I was able to go pick him up from a play date. And your parents were there. And they were like, you should meet Justin, Rhythm's dad. They talked about your Bounskee game a little bit. And they talked about your connection to SoHA. So that's how I know you. You came over here and we had one conversation.
Yep. Saw a little note at my house. And my dad's like, hey, you should reach out to this guy. He's got a podcast. I had already heard that as well. And I realized at some point that y'all were into some conscious activities.
We're into some conscious shit over here.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Conscious people.
Yes.
And,
trying to be.
And I checked out a little bit of the podcast and I was like, oh, yeah,
Sweet.
definitely gonna hit up this guy.
What about the podcast made you feel like, yeah, I want to talk to this guy?
I really just appreciate people that are doing whatever they can to help people like get by in this world and feel connected.
Yep.
You know, that's the vibe I caught, is we're just vulnerable human beings and we're all in this together. So.
Oh, I like that a lot. So who are you?
Well, you ask a very big question.
I do.
Wow. It's loaded, but I think it must be for everybody because, you know, we are all like a collection of our experiences that we've lived and learned in life. Sometimes like my words will continue, and then like when I'm saying them, I'm like, I'm not picking the right words.
That means that you're speaking in the moment.
Yeah, I'm speaking in the moment.
You're not trying to plan out your words.
Oh, that's very true.
Well, that's the kind of conversation I like.
I have always tended to be somewhat socially awkward, and there's always some amount of what is the right thing to say that is interfering with the feeling of what the actual thing is. I'm sure that a lot of people feel this way, but it doesn't seem like everybody does. It seems like some people always find the right words at the right time.
That sounds really complicated.
Right?
And so you're saying that's kind of what conversation is for you?
It can be. That might have to do with having crafted my persona around the expectations of others throughout my life.
I can relate to that.
Right? That's definitely something I'm trying to break out of in a habitual way.
People pleasing.
Yeah, I mean, I do like want to please people. I mean, I want people to like what I have to offer, but I don't want to impose things on other people either. I want them to invite it and welcome what I have to offer. People pleasing is just a mechanism that I have used to be welcome, I suppose.
It feels to me like people pleasing is something I used because I was afraid I was going to get kicked out of the tribe. I had that feeling of separation, like I was afraid I didn't belong. for whatever reason. And then people pleasing is the only defense to be like, I got to pretend like I belong. I got to figure out how to look like I fit in so that I can be accepted, so that I'm not out in the cold, dark, alone.
I totally feel that. Fitting in is something that I want to not care about, but at the same time, it's really hard not to.
Because it feels like you're going to die. That existential fear of emotional death, like where you are utterly alone. Because I think at some level, we're all suspicious that that's actually the truth. And that's a horrifying thing to think about unless you realize what it means. Boy, that's good. That's a hell of a tangent, though. So,
well, we need people, you know.
We need people, but we're all single player game individuals looking out of the center of our universe at the universe around us. And in that way, we're all the same. And I think that the consciousness that's looking out of our eyes is actually the same consciousness.
I have some beliefs along those lines as well.
Yeah.
But what's super cool is that even though we do have sameness and oneness, we also have our own unique strengths and perspectives and experiences.
Yes.
And while we are all very capable of doing a lot on our own, we are better when we find the people that complement our strengths and have a similar mission and can work on things together. Because I have some things that I would love to do, but doing it alone just like sounds so hard.
Yeah. And also, what's the point of doing if you're alone? The doing is always for others.
Exactly. So it's been awesome. Lately, I have been making some really good connections with people that appreciate what I bring to the table. It's been a long time since I felt in that flow.
Mm. What was the environment when you felt like you were in that flow before? What did that part of your life look like?
After moving out of my family's house after high school, I did a lot of partying and I did a lot of traveling around the country playing music, and
you were in a band?
Several,
Okay.
very, very many bands.
Any notable one? Like any with music that's posted?
I played a lot of reggae, and one artist who was local to Humboldt, California, where I came from for a while, his name was Justin, and I toured with him a couple times over the years and recorded with him some. But playing in reggae groups, like we would back up a lot of artists that would come through town. I've done a lot of tracks, so I play a lot of instruments. One of the things that I'm strongest on is horns, particularly in the studio where I can play all of them. So I have done like quite a number of reggae horn section tracks in the studio.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, I've heard myself like on the radio in Hawaii.
Oh wow!
And
that's so cool.
I caught a video of a band in Germany like covering one of the rhythms that I played, because a lot of the music that I performed on would get shopped around to different reggae artists. So there's a lot of reggae artists that have recorded songs on the tracks that I've recorded on.
And this was all in your just starting the find yourself journey phase.
The reggae came later. I was playing a lot more jazz and funk and hip hop and stuff before that. And so after I had been touring for a while, I quit one of the bands that I was in that took most of my time, and I was focusing on working. And I was also focusing on exploring the spirituality that I had picked up pieces of in my journeys. Still pretty new to me, because I didn't really have much of a spiritual frame of reference growing up.
Non-religious parents?
Non-religious parents, yeah.
Got it.
They were very supportive, but spirituality was definitely not anything I knew so little about it. So growing up, that wasn't a formative part of my personality. It still doesn't feel natural. Those formative years, they like really stick with you in who you are and build your character and who you are. I mean, I think I know right from wrong, and I've made my mistakes, but like to have that source of energy that I believe exists now there and just not totally disregard it, that's what I'm used to, I guess.
What I hear you saying is that maybe you're still trying to get used to like just being aware of a bigger life around you than what you can sense.
Yeah.
It's a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
I can relate.
It's an interesting struggle because like it's not anything that you're supposed to have to work hard at. It's a mindset and it's a shift. But part of me wishes that like I was more comfortable with that mindset. I mean, we all have our journey. So
On the one side of the coin, we're all the same, as in we all have a pure consciousness that's animating us. The mission of that consciousness is to build a information body or a spiritual body or an emotion body or whatever you want to think of it, a thought body that is a compilation of all the experiences of this particular animation. That's why humans are as unique as snowflakes, because every single body is built of all these little pieces that can never be replicated.
yeah.
That's one of my coolest new awarenesses, just that of who we are. So you had a point basically after you left home where you got into kind of a spiritual seeking flow state where you were doing like creating and just kind of being in the moment. And then next page is just kind of like a bunch of scribbles, and it's kind of like a darker time for you in your consciousness and your emotions. Then what? How did you come out of that?
So lots of life experience that apparently I needed to have.
You were actually learning lessons the whole time. You were coming out of it the whole time you were in it.
I was learning lessons, but probably I wouldn't say in real time.
Okay. Slow.
A little slow on the pickup for some of that.
Slow and steady.
It's not like it's ever been completely out of mind. Like my spirituality and what I found way back when, it was always there. But there was all these responsibilities and all, life all around me. And it seemed like it would take a lot of effort, I guess, to do it. And it didn't seem worth it. Maybe it just didn't seem attainable.
We're talking about it being building a spiritual practice.
Yeah. Throughout that time period where I wasn't.
Well, your emotional energy was completely tapped.
It was completely tapped.
I can relate.
And so what brought me back to it was a progression of things. But like I have to thank the universe for inspiring me to make Bounskee, because it set me back on a purpose that was my own creation, my own inspiration. I kind of just ran with an idea and jumped on some opportunities that provided growth and connection. And I began to see that I'm going in the right direction. I had a lot more inspiration around music and just the idea of getting back into spirituality. And back in 2023, I had a moment, and after it faded, it felt like some manic energy or whatever, but it was definitely inspired.
You're saying like in 2023, the flare sparked, but it wasn't quite time yet.
It sparked right as other things were happening that were shaking up my existence.
Yeah.
So at the same time as I was super inspired to like really build on Bounskee and also like start building the Justoneus brand, I was still living in Humboldt at the time, and my production situation for Bounskee had a little shake up, and I had to basically turn down the faucet. That's what led me to move here. I had that moment of inspiration back then, and it's now starting to bubble back up with new connections. I have some people investing in Bounskee right now to get it established and set up and going. That's what I need to put all my energy into. And so I took a conscious step back from music. Still wasn't focusing on the spiritual stuff because life. I don't have any excuses for it.
It wasn't time yet.
It wasn't time yet.
Yes.
Like I made some cool connections and definitely start like building my network. But it wasn't until like I started playing music more again that I started feeling really more connected. And that led to business opportunities, more opportunities of personal growth, and meeting more like-minded people. And now I'm finding my spiritual tribe, people that I can talk to about these kind of things. I think that to vocalize these things is the best way to process a lot of these things sometimes. And so the more people that you meet that you can have these full, open, authentic conversations with, the better.
And I think that there's a lot of people out there right now that are just like you and me, kind of feels like we're pulling ourselves out of a sticky clay that we've just been locked in in reactive lives, reacting to what society sets up for us. And we're like saying, what, I have limbs? This is my body. I can be anything I want to be. It's such a chaotic, confusing, painful process.
It is. And it's inspiring to finally be seeing people that are living more the way that we
Living
are talking
more?
about. Yeah,
Just
living
being,
more.
choosing to
more.
be alive.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Bounskee is a super fun game. I'm not a game person. Like, I haven't been for a while. And something about ping pong balls and wood slat structure that just is so much fun. What I'm curious about is, can you give a super short history? How did you get this idea? And then like just a super quick breeze through of bring us to here with Bounskee.
I'll be as quick as I can with Bounskee.
Bounskee.
So at first, I was working at a grow shop in Humboldt, and I just happened to be breaking down this cardboard box that had held shot glasses for measuring nutrients. And there were a dozen holes in the insert in the box to hold the glasses in place. The way that box was constructed, the lid came up one way and the insert came up the other way. And so as I was disassembling it, my brain took a little snapshot, and I put the insert up against the backboard and thought it looked like a really cool surface to throw ping pong balls at. So I cut a hole in the front of the box, made a little ramp, and I worked with a bunch of artists, and we decorated the ping pong balls and decorated it wasn't called Bounskee yet, it was Shoot to Win. And we let our customers shoot for chances to win discounts and like swag and things like that. The next time I got a box emptied, I took it home. I was married at the time and had stepkids, so there were 3 kids there, and I built it and then had them help me decorate it, and we made Shoot to Win 2.0. And this time it was a little bigger, gave it a raised base and a larger ball return, and I added wings to it to collect more of the balls, less ball chasing. I had a friend, Jeremy, who had a woodworking shop right across the parking lot from the store I worked at. His niche was making custom product displays that could pack flat and be assembled upon delivery. And these are all like laser cut out of plywood. I thought that his building style would work really well for like a build-it-yourself type game that could pack flat, whatever, because it is a kind of bulky thing. And so packaging is something I took into consideration early.
It's based on boxes.
It is based on boxes. And you can laser cut cardboard. I originally planned on doing it in cardboard. So my friend Jeremy helped me with the original prototyping of BYO, Build Your Own Bounskee is what I call it. If I was developing it, I thought, maybe you should come up with a name, and finally settled on Bounskee because like it did seem to have some elements of skee ball with the incline and the balls dropping into holes and everything. So I came up with Bounskee and then like instantly realized that I can make a skee ball type version of this game. And so I made another playing top, and now there was 2 different interchangeable playing tops, and I realized that I can do more of those and I can make more ways to play this game. But at that time, I was still figuring out how to get this on the market, and laser cutting cardboard, even though it was something I had access to, it's not the most efficient way to do it. And if I wanted to make this into a product, I couldn't get it down to a price that people would be willing to pay for a cardboard game. So I was consulting with die cutting cardboard companies, and they did make some crude prototypes with a knifing machine. But there was some sort of miscommunication to where I thought that it would not work with some of the smaller, more intricate things that were a part of my design. So I set it down for a while. This was back in like 2019. Had a divorce, and then COVID hit, and yeah, I wasn't doing much of that anymore.
Yeah.
But then Jeremy was like, I can't keep up. I'm getting so many custom orders. And at the time, I was struggling financially with shelter in place. I had my son every other week at the time, and there was no school. And so every other week I wasn't working. And my boss was really accommodating for that, but not as far as paying me for when I wasn't there. Yeah. So I was making a lot less money and there was not a lot of opportunities. I supplemented my income with music before COVID, like a lot, and there was no gigs.
Yeah.
So every other week when I didn't have rhythm, I would work at the shop, and then his shop was right across the parking lot. So I could just like jump from one to the other and run the machines and catch him up on his orders.
So you worked 2 weeks every other week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it helped a lot. At some point, he started teaching me some of his design techniques, and then I caught him up and he didn't need me after hours anymore. But then a few months later, he hired me to run the laser room. And then I learned a lot more about design and I started doing custom jobs. And once I had those skills, I took the design into my own hands and like made a few tweaks and got the prototyping to the point where I was like, it's going to be risky without knowing how it's really going to come out after the die cutting. And it's a large upfront cost to have the dies made in the first place. Yeah. And then to get the price down, you need to make a big order to make it worth it. So the buy-in was way more than I could take on.
Yeah.
So I decided to have a Kickstarter. It works for some people, right?
Other people.
Other people. It didn't work for me.
No.
But it's okay. It worked in its own way. So I made a pretty cool video. I thought it was pretty cool. Cool rewards packages and everything like that. And I launched it. I gave myself a month. Probably wasn't enough time, but there's something to be said for like creating an urgency. But I wasn't able to do that enough. And I was in a remote area of Northern California where it was hard for me to get around. My network really just wasn't that big.
Yeah.
So I saw early on that it needed a miracle to succeed. Nonetheless, I was hoofing it around town, like putting up flyers and talking to people. And an owner of a winery who's a friend of mine, she offered to host a Kickstarter party for publicity to try to, raise money. And I looked around the room and she had these beautiful long redwood tables, 2 of them. And into my mind popped the idea to have a Bounskee tournament there to promote the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I didn't have a whole lot of time to put it together, but I had a lot of energy and a lot of inspiration working for me. I had the idea to, instead of using cardboard Bounskies for the tournament, to make some really nice wood ones, because I always knew they could be made out of wood, but that wasn't the plan. But for the tournament, I was like, I'm going to make some nice ones. I'm going to design a really cool logo for the backboard of the Bounskee, and they can be trophies for the tournament. So first and second place would get one of the trophy Bounskies, and it was a super, super nice thing. And we had the tournament, and people really had a good time, and some people started asking me, hey, can you make me one of these with my business logo on it? So I started selling the wood ones, and the Kickstarter crashed and burned, but people were now wanting to buy the wood ones, even at the much higher price than I would have ever charged for a cardboard one.
You have to see it and feel it and hear it. It's magnetic.
It's a nice product. I'm really proud of how it turned out. I mean, it still resembles that version back in 2022, but I have improved the design greatly. So one of the versions of Bounskee that is kind of the outlier is Bounskee slots. It's a more vertical version, and without saying it, check out bounskee.fun, and then you'll see what I'm talking about.
Bounskee.fun.
On this one version, you can play 4 in a row, but it's like Connect 4. And also, I learned recently you can play bingo on it. It's a modified version, but it's super duper fun. And to do it, I have to write numbers on the ping pong balls. And it looks a little ugly, at least the way I have done it. So I think it would be cool to get custom printed ping pong balls with all the numbers from 1 to 25 on them. A mix of orange and white balls, so you can still play Connect 4 if you want. So yeah, that's like, a little Kickstarter idea that I thought might be worthwhile.
It's all about getting the foundation under you. And it sounds like that's what you're really putting your energy into. The way to build all that stuff on top is just going to come naturally. And it sounds like what you've got right now is something that has to be promoted in person.
It works a lot better in person. I know that my website could be more obviously informative. I have a marketing partner now, Rick Saffiel's up in Salem, who is helping with that strategy.
Sweet. Once you've been doing everything by yourself, and then here comes somebody that's like, oh, I'll help. And you're like, I have so much more capacity now. There's so much more room to move.
For sure. And I mean, he's got his hands full, and the stuff that I'm having him do is time consuming.
Yeah.
But I am seeing progress, and I am grateful for the help. And I'm trying to take a step back from a lot of those things that I want him to, take on.
Can't do everything. And you are the guy that throws yourself all the way at something when you get the idea, like the Kickstarter and everything. You're like, ready or not? I mean, how do you learn if not to just do?
That is how we learn, for sure.
I don't think most of the world is like that.
I absolutely want to recognize the privilege that we have to be able to consider our own will. There are some places in the world where, your life is just laid out for you.
Or it's all you can do just to stay alive.
It's all you can do just to stay alive. Yeah, totally.
Oh, that's a lot of the world.
Exactly. So I'm grateful to be where I am.
Amen.
Yeah.
I am also extremely thankful to be able to direct my own life.
Yeah.
What a gift.
And let's use our gifts to help more people be able to do that, because there's people in this country that aren't able to do that.
That's true.
There's a lot of problems in this world that can be solved if inspired people work together to solve them.
Stop doing the thing that you think you're supposed to be doing and ask yourself, what is it that I want to be doing? And then do that. And then the world will change.
Yeah. Within healthy boundaries.
Who dictates the healthy boundaries?
Well, we have to do it from our own inner higher self.
Which we all have.
Yes.
And we are all blocked from because we think we're supposed to be this person that fits into this mold. And so we don't even have a chance to see who are we actually. And if it's true that we have a higher self at our core, then how do you get to that? You don't will yourself to it. You surrender to say, okay, who am I? What is in there? Because we're trained to be scared of what's in there. But there's nothing scary in there. That's been my experience with every single person I've ever dealt with in my entire life. Underneath all of the things that seem scary, there's just a scared little kid. That's it. Beneath that scared little kid is a beautiful consciousness that is made of love. There we go. I just like to derail conversations. Mostly I think I'm agreeing with you, but.
You're absolutely right that you can't know anything until you experience it.
Correct.
So you can't know yourself unless you are experiencing your own will.
You can't know yourself until you truly experience your darkness, your dark side, because that's part of you.
You have to own all of it. There's a lot of things in this world that one could be tempted to blame for things.
Fear wants to blame. When you're afraid, there's a reason you're afraid.
Exactly. But what we do with what we're given, it's worth something. Even if you're constantly handed shitty cards and you play them as best as you can, then that's worth something. There's value to that.
And then one day you realize all the rules are made up and you actually can play the cards any way you want.
That's true. And again, like recognizing that we are in a place of privilege at the same time, because in the places of the world where people are struggling for survival every single day, I don't know how much of this is experientially true.
Or any other time in human history where all we were doing was struggling for survival.
And how we choose to act in that environment is affecting the other people that are there with you, no matter what.
We're in an interconnected system.
It seems like there's no purpose. There always is, if you can find it.
Always. And fear is a story. It's usually a story about what's going to happen in the future. But the things that seem scary stop seeming scary when you get to know them. Yeah, you're right. It's a generality that wouldn't be applicable in every situation, but it's a big picture. I believe that humans are made of love. Like that's who we are at our core. And that's not something that dies. The physical existence is something that is always crumbling, always building and always crumbling. That's just the way it is. And our little perception of time is just a bubble pop in the grand scheme of things. So that fear is a story. It's a story that's part of a three-dimensional existence. True. And you are actually existing here in the three dimensions. True. But there's a bigger picture where the same situation that would be terrifying, when you have the bigger picture, you're surrounded by joy and you can just become love. That's what makes sense to me. Context is important.
Going back to the conceptualization of that reality versus the experiencing that reality, that's the mindset transition that I'm still struggling with. But I know that there's a lot of people that don't even realize that there is this alternative.
Yeah. This physical, painful, terrifying, chaotic existence is all there is. And I got dealt a shitty hand. That would suck a lot. I can see why you would have a terrified, awful existence. Yeah, I feel like I had similar feelings to that about my life previously, but it's all stories. Where did we get off on that tangent from?
It's all tangents.
It's all tangents. Boy, that's a good point. You're starting to talk about community, and I'm starting to see a thread come through here, and I'm sure you have a lot of interesting things to say about now.
Yeah, thank you for getting me back on that point.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the reason why I am grateful that I was gifted with the idea of Bounskee is because as it developed, I saw all the different kinds of people that could find enjoyment with it. It's a sport, but it's a very light sport. It's a finesse sport, and kids can play it pretty young, and you can play it until you can't toss a ping pong ball anymore. So there's a real nice physical, healthy quality to it, honing in on your focus and everything. But the beautiful part that I really enjoy the most is how different kinds of people can engage with it. It doesn't take a lot of skill to play. There is a lot of luck involved. So it's kind of like an equalizer in the world of competitive sports.
But there are strategies and techniques.
There are strategies and techniques. You need to have some skill. You do have to have some skill. Mm-hmm. But your luck can't outweigh your skill.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mindset sport. If you go up there thinking, oh, I suck at this, and you're just like throwing the balls because you don't think that you're any good, you're probably going to suck. But you don't have to think, I'm awesome at this. You can just go up there and this is fun, and just like really experience the moment of it and see like how the little changes in how hard you throw the ball or where on the table you're bouncing or what hole you're aiming for, the little changes are going to affect your consistency. Luck is always going to play a part, but I think in Bounskee, it's going to be the person with the best attitude is often going to win, which I find is super interesting. It's all about healthy competition, and there are a lot of benefits to it. So I've had a good number of like high score contests that have been used for like fundraisers.
So you like to connect with events. Do you do that regularly?
I used to scout out a lot more and do more markets and stuff. And now I'm trying to be more selective and position myself as available to provide a service because, again, there's different ways to use it. It's great for parties, family reunions, charity events, fundraisers.
But you have tournaments.
Yes. And that's something that's going to continue. So
and that's separate from the fundraisers and all this other stuff.
That is separate.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what is that? What is that? What does that look like?
I've had 5 tournaments so far. The first one was the Kickstarter tournament. The second one was a little over a year later, also down in Humboldt. The third one was in Corvallis. And the fourth one was in Palm Springs at a game convention down there, which was really cool, but it was not very well attended. But the tournament was fun. And then around that time, I had the idea to start doing statistics, because that's kind of cool when you have sports to be able to see the different players' averages and everything over time. But my original rules did not allow for the creation of good statistics. So while I did take some stats, the 5th tournament was just this year, and it was a fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Association. And it was the first tournament with the updated rules. So now I have stats.
You're going to build a whole online community around this Bounskee game.
In person and online, because you have to be in person to play.
And you already have people that are like in the stats and competing. And
yeah, I've been keeping stats for the high score contest for a while. Now I'm keeping stats at Bounskee nights, which I have 3 monthlies in the region here.
Not tournaments.
Not tournaments. They're all you can play nights and where leagues are going to be starting here. So
where do you do that?
In Corvallis on second Tuesdays, we do it at Benchwarmers. And then on the first Mondays in Salem, we do Crazy Dough Pizza. And the first Tuesday in Eugene, we do Play.
Okay.
And
you got a few different places you're doing this.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of exciting.
And to make the league idea more appealing, we're going to have to plan a couple more too. Because one of the perks is you're a league member, you can get into all the Bounskee nights for free. Sure. Otherwise, it only costs $5 to play all you want for the whole time.
Do you have like a social media that you post the dates on or what's up upcoming events?
Yeah, I've always been most comfortable with Facebook, but I also post on Instagram, and that's kind of something that both me and Rick are co-working on right now.
What's your handle or whatever?
Bounskee.fun.
Bounskee.fun. Oh, so it's the same.
Yeah, so my website is Bounskee.fun, and all of my social channels are also Bounskee.fun or at Bounskee.fun.
Okay.
Except for...
That's easy.
YouTube, which is just Bounskee.
Bounskee.fun. Is that all spelled out for your social channels or just a period in there?
It's just a period in there.
Okay. Oh, dude, I am displaying my ignorance because I have ignorance.
No, that's funny because I can't remember one of the social channels that I had signed up for. I don't use it anymore because I can't remember which one. A while ago, wouldn't let me put a period in it. So I did write out dot for that one.
Okay. Valid question after all.
Yeah.
Great.
It's still building slowly, but like you say, it's kind of one of those things you need to get your hands on. I agree. People tend to like getting their hands on it. And that is always encouraging. Since like I've been building this slowly over time, there have been periods when I have put a little bit more effort into marketing, but I've also held back a lot because I kind of wanted it to be more ready. I still like have all the faith that Bounskee can be huge. It's just about how to get it out there the best. And the events do better when more people are familiar with it. So it's just a process of building it.
So people can buy it from your website?
You can buy it from the website.
And what's the cost?
There are a lot of different ways that it can be put together and built. And so the deluxe set is compatible with 8 different versions. The smaller set is compatible with only 4. The smaller set starts at 100 before any discounts, which there's always a way to find one. And the deluxe set starts at 125.
Then there's add-ons and things like that. That gives a frame of reference though. And I will say that we bought one and I'd recommend this game to anyone. It comes in a pizza box. It's freaking hilarious. And it's a whole bunch of just flat, super thin plywood pieces that are all slotted and cut to fit together perfectly well. It's a little bit like building an IKEA furniture in that you do have to put some thought into it. Which part goes in first, which part goes in second, but it's not that hard to put together. And then once it's together, it's just fun for everybody. And it just sits there and gets used as people walk by. It's satisfying. And it's interesting that you were talking about consciousness, like how someone's going to do better who's more conscious. That's what I heard. I think you were saying is in a better mood.
Better attitude, yeah.
Better attitude. But playing the game puts you in a better attitude, puts you in a better mood because there is something meditative about it. There's something tactile about it that is so satisfying. If you're annoyed by the sound of ping pong balls bouncing, then that'll be annoying. But there's also a rhythmic quality to that is also very meditative. When you get in there, you have to get yourself into a little bit of a zone because ping pong balls, they like fly around. They're light. They're hard to aim and stuff. And it just takes this subtle, gentle flow to just flow it up there. And then it's like this satisfying bouncing. And then that feeling of it going in, it's just satisfying.
It's true. And you made me think of how I find a lot of times the people that throw the ball like once and like, oh, I'm no good at this. They're like the more self-conscious people. They're worried about what people are thinking of them. But that's not what it's about. This is about your presence with the ball and the board in front of you.
Yep.
And
because you're going to hella miss the board at first. I mean,
exactly. You have to calibrate at the very least. And some people are less coordinated than other people.
Yeah.
I know that. But it doesn't take a whole lot of coordination to be lucky. And then for those less coordinated people, then as long as they can find the joy and the zen in just like the doing of it, they're going to have some awesome shots that are just going to happen every once in a while. And it's super exciting. So not on the smaller basic plus version, but on the deluxe version, there is 100-point hole for the classic skee ball like
It's
version.
impossible to hit, by the way.
Not
Don't even try.
impossible. Not impossible. Not impossible. It's not even impossible to get it by luck.
It's true. The kids are all getting hundreds.
Yeah, it happens. I think it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
I think that it has therapeutic applications to it. It works really well for people with special needs and some special needs. They have one in the special ed class at Philomath High. So that's actually a funny story. I'm gonna do that story. Try to get me back up to where we were at some point.
I will. I've got questions.
I moved up here before my son came up here with me, but he moved out here before last school year, which was the start of his freshman year. And we were not settled on what school he was going to go to. It was either going to be Corvallis High or Philomath High. So we went to go check him out. So we go show up at Philomath High like the week before school starts or something. And walking by this classroom, and I peek in the door and I see a Bounskee. And I'm like, whoa, that's a surprise. I know how it got there, but I didn't realize it was like being displayed and used. So I poked my head and I'm like, hey, I couldn't help but notice you have a Bounskee in here. And she's like, oh yeah. I was like, I make Bounskies. So that's Miss McKinney. She's a special ed teacher up at Philomath High.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
so, we talked a bit and everything. And a little bit later in the year, she had this idea where she wanted to use it to have a competition, more like a drawing at the end of the year, but a competition to get other staff members to come in and engage with her special needs students. And it's a super accessible game.
And no one's going to hurt anyone.
No one's going to hurt anyone. The biggest danger, honestly, is bonking your head on the table when you're picking up a ball or drop. So, I mean, it's great for the students to play, but also they use it to get staff members to engage with the students, which is really beneficial to them. I haven't tested it out yet. I have definitely seen some older people play and enjoy Bounskee a lot, but I think that it could be used in a therapeutic manner similarly with elderly people. There's a lot of nostalgic aspects to Bounskee.
There is.
So a lot of people that are, becoming seniors now were around when skee ball was big, but there's all these other versions too. There's the baseball version, which is really, really fun, and it follows like the flow of baseball, and you can do commentary like you do in real baseball. And there's a ton of old baseball fans in this country that are, now experiencing cognitive decline. So I can imagine that might be a really fun thing to engage with them in therapy.
This wouldn't be that hard to test.
It wouldn't be. It's just about getting it in there and doing it.
But I mean, we all have people of all different ages in our lives, and I bet we could come up with some. In fact, I know. Yeah, okay, I have an idea. Awesome. I have a sister who has adult care foster homes. I'm going to ask her if a game like that feels like it would be a helpful addition to the environment.
For sure. It's not like it's a zero maintenance game. Like if you're playing with people that are moving slower, then you're going to be picking up more ping pong balls.
That's true.
And it also does take a little space, though you can break it down and put it back in its pizza box and store it somewhere. Works well if it can just be set up somewhere and people can play it whenever they want.
It'd be cool to set it up with like just a little netting backdrop that just directs the balls right back to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is a plan.
You got lots of ideas for the future.
I do. There's a lot of ways to go. A score-keeping app will be a game changer. Some of the games are pretty simple and don't require a whole lot of knowing of rules or like scorekeeping. But some of the versions do require scorekeeping. And so I have scorecards for those versions, and you can just print them at will from my website. But a scorekeeping app would be even cooler, where you can just like tap what hole the ball went in for all the different versions, and it will run the game for you.
Are you an app maker?
I am not.
Sounds like you're looking for an app builder.
Having an app builder to do that would be awesome.
Yeah. Are you actively looking for?
Not only because I don't have a budget, but there are still places for the right people to join Team Bounskee. And that person who could build that app came with other skills and could add a lot to what Bounskee is offering and be excited to do so, then hey, I would be willing to consider that.
Well, community, that's just where everything happens.
Absolutely.
The world right around us.
Yeah. My slogan is building community through healthy competition. So, I mean, it really is about healthy competition. You can engage with anybody. You can set aside your differences and just agree that this hole is worth 50 points. This hole is worth 40 points. And whoever gets the higher score wins.
That's a huge accomplishment in the world today.
Yeah. Leave your other baggage at the door.
Boy, do we need this mindset. It's a conscious game.
And then we can talk about the artistic side of Bounskee. Bounskee as a social sport that focuses on healthy competition does not require art, but it has always been a part of it since the very first prototypes before Bounskee shoot to win games made out of the box, when we're decorating ping pong balls. It's always been there.
It's all like nice paintable surfaces, but then it's got that huge backboard that has the Bounskee logo on it.
Yep, and the backboard is reversible. On the backside, it's blank. So you can flip it around, have the logo on the back, and have whatever you want to paint on it on the front. I do custom backboards too, logos, other ideas, image ideas. So it's a customizable game to begin with, but I have encouraged some people to paint them, and there is a gallery on my website. And so, yeah, I really love it when people like customize it and personalize their Bounskee. That led to the idea of BYO Bounskee events sometime in the future. This version is build your own Bounskee, but it can also mean bring your own Bounskee to a Bounskee tournament. And when it's your turn to compete, you set your Bounskee on the table and you're psyching out your opponent with your art. So you can put whatever you want on there, but you're showcasing your personality and your art in the competition. So it like
adds a cultural element to it.
Adds a cultural element to it. So it's like sport meets art.
Yeah.
And it's celebrating self-expression and healthy communication, competition.
People put communication on there. Slogans or messages. People will use it to speak, probably.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what
totally.
that's what artists do. They use their canvases to say the things they want to say.
Exactly.
In their own weird ways.
Yeah. I think it would make for a really awesome fundraiser event where you get bigger artists to do it and then auction off the
get like
pieces.
a graffiti artist to tag a whole box.
Heck yeah.
That'd be so cool.
That would be so cool.
I know a few.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I'm going to see what I can do about that.
Awesome.
I know. I like that because it's a great canvas. What else about the game? I've got other questions too.
What else about the game? There is the classic skee ball version. There is
that's the one we have.
That's the one you have.
Oh, and we got you threw in the tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, the tic-tac-toe version.
I haven't played that one yet.
It's also very fun. There's no ties, and there's a couple different variations of it, which can go for a quick and chaotic game or a grueling competitive game. And then the original board, I ended up calling it the Lucky Shot Top. A throwback to that, it was a box that held shot glasses, and also all the holes are the same size, so it's really more luck than anything. You can play Bounskee Ship, which is like Battleship on that one, and then a bunch of generic Bounskee games. The baseball top was the third one that I came up with, and I talked about it briefly. Very, very fun if you like baseball. There's also a basketball hoop attachment that goes around the backboard. So it's pretty fun for playing horse. I like playing horse on it. I did write rules for a basketball bout, but it's a little complicated since it doesn't make sense to have a real timer going on the game. I had to make modifications. Then there is the casino top, which you can play blackjack and poker and also war and probably other card games that you can figure out how to use it for.
Wow.
Those are also very fun. They translate way better than I thought they would.
Wow.
I just came out with the football top, and the top itself is very simple, but there's a lot of accessories that go along with that version. It really captures the flavor of football as much as you possibly can with a ping pong ball toss game.
Wow.
And then the outlier is Bounskee slots, which I mentioned. You can play bingo, Connect 4, like Connect 4, and so on. So yeah, there's all those different versions of Bounskee, which means that depending on what kind of games you like, there's probably something for you.
I need to get some of these tops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I can just loan you some and you can try.
I want to try all of them out. What I'm gonna have to do is borrow some tops when we have an event, like we're about to have a big barbecue.
Oh yes.
So I don't want to change the conversation, but I'm curious because I've picked up some other threads. I'm also curious about some of the other things that you're doing. Talked about music. You've talked about building community a little bit, building your own connections, your own network and stuff. And I'm curious about those things too. So
Sure.
at your pace.
Yeah, we can get off of Bounskee here. I'll just say that the reason that I credit Bounskee for bringing me back to myself is because all the beneficial uses for it and how much of an impact I believe it really can make. The other things that I do, they're not tangible things. Sure, you can put music on a CD, but like really now it's just a digital file that you can stream. Like I don't know why I have always had that disconnect with money and finances and value of things, because like if I could, I'd just share my songs for free, you know? But Bounskee, it was like a physical product, physical creation. And for whatever reason, I don't consider myself a salesperson. I still feel more comfortable having something that I can like physically set down and show as something I'm selling, I guess.
And it grounds you to the physical, to the 3-dimensional world.
It does.
Which is really helpful to have groundings to this world because we do exist here.
Exactly. And you can stay in your head and have all these great ideas all the time. But Bounskee is making me step outside of my comfort zone and connect with people and like provide an experience for people. And as a musician, you know, I've always felt comfortable being a part of providing that experience. In fact, like if I'm not doing that in a large social event, if I'm not having a mission or a part of something in some way, like I can feel out of place and awkward. But it's when I'm doing things like this that I feel like I have a purpose. And
you feel like you're doing what you were meant to be doing, what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, Bounskee is a foundational part of your healing journey.
Absolutely.
Because really healing is just about finding out who you're meant to be, what you're meant to be doing and who you are, I think.
Yeah.
Go making extremely broad statements again, because that's what I like to do. So how long have you lived in this area?
I've been here for close to 2 years now.
Okay.
Less than 2 years.
So long enough to really start building your intentional community around you.
So I would say I more stumbled into the intentional part of the community.
Ooh.
That word intentional is a very loaded word for me because unintentional living is what I'm used to. It's my like base mode of operation.
What I mean by intentional community, unintentional community being the office, being your job, being even your family, unintentional community. You were born into this family, whatever. Intentional community being like, I want to connect with other humans because I know that it's important for me as a human. And I want to be part of the ecosystem and I want to be part of healing. It's intentional. As
a person who has a limited social battery, it really actually does have a lot more to do with finding the right people.
People that aren't going to drain that social battery.
Yeah, totally. Because there's billions of people in this world.
Sure.
And we're people pleasers. So it's very difficult to not get distracted when there hasn't been a lot of obviously right connections and I'm seeking those connections. It's really hard not to get distracted by whatever connections occur.
Yes.
So it was a slow build and I've made some good connections like early on and throughout the time I've been here, but it's definitely ramping up now and who knows, I might not last, but it doesn't matter really all too much as long as it's like continuing me on the journey and the path.
I mean, you do exist in an existence that by definition is always eroding, is always falling apart, rotting, rusting. So nothing's going to last if you zoom out just a little bit more.
Yep. But the thing that I definitely found interesting is that when I started to reintegrate music back into my life in a more consistent way, more doors started opening.
What does that look like in your life? Music. What's your relationship with music?
It's a part of me. I communicate better in music than I do in words.
What do you play?
I play most things. When I was 6, I took some piano lessons. We've always had a piano in my house. I got a foundation of music there. And then in 5th grade, I decided to play sax in band, in the elementary school band. And then in 6th grade, I continued to play sax and I did the jazz band, but I also picked up the euphonium, the baritone horn, because there was need of one in the concert band. And then in 7th grade, I picked up clarinet. I picked up basically a different instrument every year, all the way through the end of high school, a different wind instrument. And sometime in high school, I started to learn a little guitar as well. I did drumline stuff in the marching band as well. So by the time I graduated high school, I played a lot of instruments fairly well.
Only guitar and the strings?
So there's the instruments that like I could dabble on that I don't consider that I play, like violin. You know, I can figure out the tuning and how to play it. I'm not really strong in a bow. I would need to practice.
Yeah.
And mandolin is also tuned differently. So like, you know,
So
I can
mostly
do something.
wind and percussion, a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I'm not going to sit down and play whatever you want me to on the drum kit.
When you first started learning how to play saxophone, did you right away know to put the reed in the right way?
I did not right away know. And I also like thought I had seen saxophones and maybe in cartoons or something with the mouthpiece upside down from where it was. So when I first picked it up, I put the mouthpiece on upside down.
Uh-huh. And that didn't work out very well.
No, someone caught me, I'm sure.
Well, that's why we just did a interview with the Tuesday String Band, and that's one of the things he was saying about saxophone. Is he's like, when he first started playing, he couldn't even get the right sounds out of it. And his music teacher was just like, just keep trying, you'll get it.
Is that
but
right?
his
Ryan?
Ryan, yeah.
Yeah,
but his mouthpiece.
That's Rhythm's guitar teacher.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love how small this world is.
Totally.
He's so good. Those guys
man.
are incredible to listen to.
I mean, Rhythm has come such a long way in his guitar playing.
Sweet.
Like since October is when he started.
Sweet. I love seeing kids pick up these artistic
Oh, me too. I mean, he's like a big gamer, and
artistic
now
pursuits.
he's
Oh,
a
yeah.
big guitar player.
Oh,
now it's
so
like,
valuable.
yeah, I hear him playing all the time, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did all the school band stuff, and in high school, some of my friends started a ska band, and we were pretty good. We were in the Bay Area. I grew up in Benicia, and we played some pretty big venues. We played the Gilman, we played Slim's, and then we played some other cool parties too. That band ended when I graduated high school, and half the band with me. I ended up getting a partial music scholarship to Long Beach State, and so I went down and I partied my ass off.
Freedom.
Exactly. Only lasted a semester there.
Oh boy.
And left with some bitterness. But during that time while I was there, I also did briefly play in a ska band. I played trombone in that one. First one I played sax in. And while I was at Long Beach State, when I showed up for my orientation in the music department, they had a presentation of their steel drum orchestra, which was amazing. And I thought it was so awesome, and I fell in love with it. And so I joined the steel drum orchestra while I was in Long Beach State and learned how to play steel drums down there. And then dropped out of Long Beach State with some bitterness and moved back to the Bay Area, lived with my parents, and went to a junior college with a couple of my friends. That first summer after my first split year of college, my friend who was the bass player in my ska band, my friend Owen, I've known him since 3rd grade. He had moved up to Humboldt and went to Humboldt State right out of high school. And he called me up. He said, "Hey, man, what you doing?" And I told him, "I'm not doing anything, man. Nothing good." And he's like, "You want to come be my roommate up in Humboldt? Like, we're looking for one more housemate, and you should apply to HSU and get in their music department. It'll be super easy, and you know, it's cool up here." I had visited him once up there, and I liked it up there. And I was a pretty big pothead at the time, and so living in Humboldt, like, was appealing.
Fits.
So I did. I made the decision to move up there and enrolled at HSU, and discovered a synchronicity that they also had a steel drum orchestra at Humboldt State University. And at the time, there was only 3 on the entire West Coast. So I jumped from one to the other, and well, that was like a interesting little synchronicity coincidence. I joined the music department, played in the jazz band, and also played with the Marching Lumberjacks, which is the unofficial marching band for Humboldt State University. And pretty soon after moving up there, I started playing in a funk band in town. And I got scouted by a really amazing keyboard player from this really amazing band called Spank, who I had seen once and like was blown away by. But they were going to go on tour, and wanted a different sax player to go with them, and they scouted me to do it. And I was like totally humbled and like excited about it because like they were playing the caliber of music I wanted to play. The band I was playing in, we were called the All Rights, and we were fun, but we were all right, you know, and we had our moments
Ladies and gentlemen, the All Right.
Great party band, great house party band,
Oh
like
my
super
gosh,
fun.
Yeah. I can see the irony in the name, and that's kind of like that humor, you know.
Yeah. But I got asked to go on tour with Spank, and I wasn't about to turn that down. But to do it, it was happening during the school year. And I had to miss a jazz band concert, and I was a lead alto in the jazz band, and that did not sit well with the music department.
I can imagine.
I did it anyways, and came back and was really uncomfortable, and I ended up dropping out of HSU after that year. And continued to play with Spank and tour and everything.
Oh, that had to have been a lot of fun.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was after I stopped playing with Spank that I went into that period of introspective and spiritual seeking, where I did discover a lot along the lines of spirituality in my time with that band, but I was go, didn't have time to just sit with it. So it was after that when I had the time to reflect and like ground in it, and had some deep songwriting and some downloads from the universe and all that. But then it wasn't too long before I started playing music again. And I played in just a ton of bands in Humboldt. So it shifted from my young adult, early 20s, mid 20s, from like funk and jazz towards like 2007 and on. I started doing a lot of reggae. And then in 2008, 2009, I started playing in an 80s cover band. That was a lot of fun. And I picked up a lot of like keyboard skills doing that. I learned a lot of songs. And so then I played in different cover bands for a while, and I ended up playing in a Beatles cover band for a long time. Oh, there was another band called Ashanon. Ashanon was the only band that really weathered COVID. And so is the band Checkered Past, which is a ska band that I joined. And so those are the two bands that I was playing in before I moved here. When I moved here, I was like, I'm not going to join a band. I can't let myself get stretched thin like I was before COVID. I recognize
so much time.
Yeah. So one thing COVID did for me that was beneficial is it did kind of wipe out everything so that I could start to build things fresh again. Because I was, really stretched thin at many times in my musical life.
Yes.
To where like I felt too many obligations, too much pressure. Recognizing that when I moved here, I was like, I am not joining any bands. I am going to focus on the other things. Bounskee in particular, but also when I moved here, I was planning on putting a little bit more energy into Justoneus Creations and the Justoneus brand too, which is now coming back again.
Bounskee is under that. That's one of your creations.
Yeah, so Bounskee came first before Justoneus Creations, but as soon as I had another invention, which is just another laser cut product I make called Coaster Cubbies, then I thought that it would be a good idea to have a brand. And then also I could make custom stuff under that brand as well. So yeah, Justoneus Creations is the brand where I make things.
Okay.
And Bounskee is one of those things.
And one day it sounds like there may be like somewhat of a music project or a label under it.
Absolutely. Yeah. My music is already, like Justoneus music.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, step back from music, and it wasn't too long, like less than 6 months, where I was like, I gotta like do some music. And so I discovered some jazz jams in town, and I started attending an open mic, and that was good. I met some people through there, because like really I connect better with musicians than other people. For someone who's like socially awkward and doesn't do well with the small talk and know how to engage just anybody in conversation, it helps to have something that I know we can talk about.
Connection without words too. Through music, you can create direct energy connection without words.
Absolutely.
I think you can do it without music too, but we're culturally programmed to always look for the words.
Absolutely.
And you think you understand what the other person's saying to you. You don't.
Nope.
Soapbox.
Yeah. Last summer, I went to the Sage concert
Love that. Thank you, Karen.
and I caught a band, Ludicrous Speed. They're a ska band, and
I've heard them.
And I did mention in my musical history how my very first band that wasn't a school band was a ska band in high school, and then one of the last two bands that I played in before I moved here was a ska band. And so I catch this one show, and I'm really missing playing music in a band at this point. But still, I'm like setting this boundary for myself. I'm not going to join a band. But the thought crossed my mind if they might ever need a sub, because the more players you have in a band, the harder it is to
Get everybody's schedule to align.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I knew that like it was absolutely something I could offer and I could do, and I'm very comfortable like filling in for certain styles of music. And then fast forward to this year, right at the beginning of summer, I was driving the same road to work every day, right up the road here where 53rd turns into Walnut and it opens up for a ways before getting back into town a little bit. And
it's a speed trap.
it's a speed trap. I've got pulled over there before too. But I
Because
mean,
it's parks.
it says in speed zone. There should be, that means no speed limit, right?
Ludicrous speed. They've gone plaid.
So
No,
you're
gonna get
you're
a
getting
ticket.
ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me
You're
here.
gonna get a ticket. Oh, I was just making a Spaceballs reference.
Yes, and we're gonna make many more here in a minute.
What? Yes. Okay.
So,
Shutting up.
so I'm driving this road, same road I've driven well over 100 times by now, because at this point I've lived in Corvallis for about a year and a half, and it's the same road I take nearly every time unless I have another errand when I'm driving to work. But for whatever reason, the first 100, 200 times I drive down this road, I don't notice this sign, but I do on this particular day. And so I'm driving and I look up and I see this sign and it said Benton County Adopt a Highway, Adopt a Road. This section of road is adopted by Ludicrous Speed Ska Band.
my gosh.
And then it says in speed zone.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
And I thought it was funny. You already saw
they
it.
did that on purpose.
They obviously did that on purpose. So I thought it was hilarious and it reminded me of them. And then the next day I looked on Facebook and I saw that they were playing at Old World Deli that night. And so I was like, oh, I'm going. Definitely going. And I went and had a really good time. And so I did talk to a couple of the band members after the show about the possibility of them ever needing a sub. And, you know, there's 7 of them and everyone was like all dispersed and doing whatever. So it wasn't the time to have the conversation, but, you know, made the connection. And so they got back to me a couple weeks later and said, yeah, let's try this out. Come to our practice. Can you come to our practice on Wednesday? So I did. And I only took my trombone because the trombone player was missing that practice. So I just auditioned on that, but it went really well. So they invited me to come out that weekend on Saturday to play the Dirt Road block party in Florida.
Dirt Road Street Party.
And so
organized by Bonnie.
So I went there and didn't really have a plan. You know, it's like, I'll play on whatever you guys want me to play on. I'll play some sax, I'll play some trombone, you know, like play some keyboards, whatever you want. And so the keyboard player, he prefers to not play keyboards when he's singing leads, and they do shuffle lead vocals around in the band a bit. So he's like, you can play him keyboard any song where I'm singing lead. And so like I did that, you know, just on the fly that day.
Wow.
And then for horns, for me, I'm playing one note at a time. I can translate, you know, between them and learn them without playing them, you know, the different parts. So I played like, you know, maybe 6 songs in horns and some songs on keyboards. Step 1 of the universe saying that you're going to play ska again was seeing the sign and then seeing that they were playing the next day.
That's hilarious. That's awesome.
But the next universe that's reinforcing that you're playing ska now was in between the practice on Wednesday and the show on Saturday. On Friday, I got a call from Checkered Past, my Humboldt ska band, and they're like, is there any way you can come down and play a festival with us on Sunday? We're having 2 people drop out.
Oh no.
And, you know, like if it was just one person, we might be able to find like a sub locally, but like 2 last minute, you know, we need someone that knows their stuff and knows what they're doing and can like fill in like last minute. Since it was on Sunday and my other show was on Saturday and I was getting paid to go down and camp and hang out with my friends in Humboldt and play music and I didn't have any other obligations, I was like, yeah, I'm in. So I did a whole weekend of ska music And then Ludicrous Speed kept calling me back to come in all the gigs, like the idea was still at that point was like, I can be a sub. If I don't want to join a band, nothing personal because you guys are fun, but I don't want to join a band at all. But then they kept like calling me and saying, hey, you want to come out? And they threw money at me, and like I wasn't getting off the stage anymore. I was just playing the whole show. And yeah, so I buckled and I caved and I joined Ludicrous Speed. And now that sign's not up anymore. I think that they just left it up until the prophecy was fulfilled when when they had the Schwartz in the band.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Last name is Schwartzman, so I've always had an affinity for Spaceballs.
The Schwartz helps Ludicrous Speed. That's funny.
Yeah, so I am considering getting Nuck Tats of Bounskee. Bounskee. So I made an image of that on Canva with like, just kind of photoshopped it in. And we haven't been able to take a proper band photo with all the current active members of the band without any subs or anything yet. So I mentioned, hey, we need to get a new band photo. But in the meantime, you can use these. And so I photoshopped a couple of their band photo pictures with me in them. And one of them is like, everyone's all standing full up. And like the best full body shot I could find was that picture where I was like standing, like posing with my fake Nuck Tats. And I was like, I'm going to replace Bounskee with Schwartz. It's the same number of letters. So I sent it to them as a joke. They're totally using it now for
That's awesome.
our online stuff.
Oh, they got a good sense of humor.
Yes, they do.
Well, I guess that's why you fit.
And we have another, I'm just going to tease y'all with a very fun Spaceballs related idea. It's a huge undertaking of a project. It will blow people's mind if we can pull it off and do it right. And like it can make like a ska cover band go viral. I'm sure of it, and in a very fun way.
A Millennium Falcon tour bus.
Nope. And I'm not even gonna tell you if you're hot or cold.
You're gonna tease without even a hint.
Total tease. Next year, probably.
Next year. Okay.
Yeah.
I like surprise ideas because you never know what's gonna come out of that brain sitting in front of you. What the heck? Humans
That's
are
right.
wild cards.
My brain works particularly well at connecting dots when I least expect it. Like when I least expect it. Like I'll hear something and it will remind me of something else. And then now all of a sudden these two things are connected in a way that like, who would have thunk it?
You work better creating with other people.
Absolutely.
Because that's something that I am realizing starkly about myself is I'm a co-creator. If I'm by myself, I'm going to be in silence. I'm going to be listening to the world around me. And when I'm with somebody else, that's when the flow can start.
Yeah, absolutely. I have been motivated to record my own music. And I recently just released my unpolished versions onto YouTube because like they were doing no good just sitting up in my head, taking up space. I think the songs have value. So I did put it out there. But like I have never been able to come out of the studio satisfied because I do work better with other people.
Yeah.
I can make music, and I can make music that is listenable, but like to make it a product and to monetize it, they're not ready.
Well, you said you have some posted. So if you have a link to listen to them, I'm going to stick it in the notes.
YouTube at Justoneus.
All right, perfect.
Yeah. So Ludicrous Speed is the first band that like I was like, okay, I'm joining you. I am probably considered a member of Little Boy Blue, and I have been the bass player playing with Evan in that group for several months now. Evan does folk punk. He has some originals that are really political and very clever. He's a great lyricist. But I brought up Evan because playing with him has led to different other connections as well. So all my musical connections have led to more things. So with Evan, we played a show. It was called Bandemonium at Old World Deli.
I think I saw a flyer for that.
Yeah. So there was also a Battle of the Bands going on, and we were maybe going to play that. But it was also my birthday, and I was like wanting to do something a little more low-key than going to the fair and playing a Battle of the Bands. So I basically said, I'll do this, but I don't want to do that. I can be a dick sometimes, but, I did it.
Sounds like exercising boundaries to me.
It was boundaries.
Good job.
It was my birthday, and I just really didn't want to do it. So we show up to play and we're hanging out outside, and a couple people show up, and one of them has a trumpet case, and it looked like he was coming up to play. And he's like, "Hey, you gonna play some trumpet?" Or actually, "Hey, you got a trumpet in that box?" And he said, "Oh, actually, it's 2 trumpets." It was double trumpet case. So now the show's going to start, and we sign up for later anyways. But Evan and our drummer, Jasper, decide that they're going to do a little bit of practicing because it's still going to be like an hour before we play. I'm like, I'd much rather just stay here and listen. I don't want to like blow up my ears and then come here and play. So I hung out and I watched the music. And so the guy that I met outside, the trumpet player, David, he was playing in the group before me with a woman named Rainbow, who I had seen perform at other places as well. And I had never seen David play before, but I thought he played some really tasty stuff over her music. And my band was supposed to play right after him. So they're still not back yet. And so, when they come on, I send a text and like, "Hey, we're up next," and I don't see a text coming back. And then like maybe 10 minutes into the set, which they're only supposed to last like 20 minutes, like I call and like, "Hey, they don't pick up." So I'm like, well, they're probably on their way. Really, they were just playing really loud music, so they didn't hear the phone. So Rainbow's group ends, and there's a house band, Sal and the Salamanders. They're the house band because they brought the gear, and so they played the first set, and then everyone else they backlined the gear for everyone else to play. And so I go and talk to them. I'm like, "Hey, a band's not here. We're supposed to play now. Can you guys fill in a little bit? And can I jam with you?" I got a saxophone in the car. I play bass with Little Boy Blue, but I can jam on sax. I'd love to jam with you. And so I ended up doing that and playing sax. And then immediately after that, the guy showed up and we played our set. Anyways, I got to catch David's playing, and I was impressed with what he played. And he got to see me play some sax, but he had to take off before the last set. Then a couple days later, I see him pop up on Facebook and the people you may know. And I wanted to, compliment him on his playing. And I enjoyed like relating with him before the show and everything. And since the opportunity didn't come afterwards, I thought I'd just, shoot him a message. But I also discovered that he is the director of SoHA, which is Sanctuary of Healing Arts in Philomath. And then I also sent him a message and, compliment him on his playing and, mentioned that I had been curious about SoHA. And so he's like, "Hey, yeah, you should sign up for the mailing list. And we have this thing coming up." I really wanted to go out there and check it out. So I ended up going out it was a volunteer weekend. And they also had a traveling artist passing through, Eric Altman, I believe is his name. And he was an awesome songwriter and guitar player. They had a potluck that night, and, camping was offered, and they were going to share songs around a campfire later that night. And these all sounded like fun things. But I didn't know if I would know anybody up there. And, I can be socially awkward. And then also I was really tight on cash. There's, suggested donations for things. So I just decided that in place of some money, I'm going to bring some of my art that I'm guessing I can get the vibe that this place might appreciate some sacred geometry,
tangible art,
things of that nature, intangible art. So I will just bring some offerings. So I show up and I meet a woman, Eve, and she's like a friend that's visiting and super welcoming and everything. So, it starts off in a good tone. And then I hear some trumpet playing. And so I go on to find David and reintroduce myself. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, cool." And I brought my sax and he's like, "Oh, let's jam right now." And so he also plays piano. And so we did a little jamming. Eric, the songwriter, he was passing by. He's like, "Oh, you want to sit in for a song with me?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we go over a song real fast to play, and so instantly I'm getting in on the musical side of
he was asking you to perform with him that night?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, totally.
That's a great first experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, sweet.
Everyone that's there is super good vibes and good peoples. Oh, and then the place is beautiful. There's art everywhere and comfortable seating and an awesome stage. Behind the stage, there's a roll-up door that looks out upon trees.
Oh, wow.
And they also have an amazing temple connected to the community kitchen where the food's prepared for the potluck.
So is it kind of like an event center?
Yes and no. Yeah, so David and Molly live there, and there's another person who lives there that I'm aware of. And right now they have 9 Bhutanese artists that are living there and doing art and working in exchange for food and staying and everything.
So it's a very eclectic event center, very mixed use type event center.
Yeah, and it's very intentional as well. He's not going to hold any events there. It's not open for whatever.
Does he let people hold events? Like, does he let people rent it out? Or
Yeah. It can be like a conference space. Yeah, he does.
But it's conscious events.
Yes. I think conscious events is a good way to put it. So, like I said, I was not planning on necessarily like staying out there, and I was underprepared for camping. But they have like rooms up there people can stay in too. And so I ended up staying up there that night. And we had some really awesome like campfire jams. And I shared my songs and they loved them. And they want to record my songs.
Of course they have a recording studio.
Yeah, of course they do.
Naturally. Gotta freaking meet these people.
So yeah, had an awesome first evening and night there. And spent most of the next day there. Did a little bit of volunteering. Did a little bit more musical connecting. Shared my theory, if you will, on like spiritual dimensions, which I've always called a chakra theory, but I'm thinking that's too limiting now.
Immediate connection.
That's
a very good thing.
And then David and Molly invited me to be in their salsa band. I didn't think they had heard me play sax enough to know if I would even be a good fit, but I'm a pretty good fit.
Sweet.
So this band is really awesome. And it's not just a salsa band, but thus far it kind of has been. That's how it began.
Does it have a name?
SoHA Rd. One of the cool things about this band that I thought was really cool is that it's not an entirely local band. There are members that are in Seattle and San Francisco, and this band would probably not be nearly as good or even possible as is without the direction of a world-class master Latin composer and musician, John Calloway, who has made a huge mark in the world of Latin music and is very well known and celebrated in the Bay Area as an educator too. So since people are coming in from all over and have their busy lives as well, instead of it being a band that practices and has shows regularly, we get together for weekends throughout the year. They've only done it like 4 or 5 times now. And this last one was my first. And it's more for us than it is for anybody else. It's so that we can play, we can learn from a master musician, play with other fantastic musicians, work on the stuff together, make it sound tight. Not easy music, but really moving music. We do have, shows on some of those nights as well to invite people to come out and experience it with us. But the focus was on development and personal growth and enjoying the co-creation. That's what the focus was. It wasn't to have a killer show.
Perfect.
And the show was great. It wasn't flawless, but it was great. The energy was just amazing. But it looks like as more people are joining the bands that have original songs like me and some other people in the band, we're still going to have those weekends where John Calloway comes up and we do all salsa. But it might also start to shift into more of a collective where we're going to start playing other kinds of music with the different subgroups inside the collective and do other people's songs. So SoHA Rd is, I believe, transforming into this. And I hope that I'm not overspeaking. I'm pretty sure this is well communicated by this point right now, because before I was there, the way it was presented to me, it was just a salsa band. But it seems like that might be changing.
Well, I'm going to put a link to it so that people can just make their own conclusions.
Yeah. SoHA.center is the website for that.
Okay.
So you can learn about SoHA and you can check out some live recordings of the band.
I'm on the mailing list and I see all these interesting things coming through. They're always having something going on up there. And it's usually a suggested donation, and sometimes it's overnight and sometimes, but it's always like so adaptable. And they have all these traveling people coming through, artists and stuff. Definitely something for everybody.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt to at least know what's happening.
Absolutely.
Or even know that it's out there in Philomath. That's so weird, dude. It's so weird for me to think there's a place like this in Philomath.
I know.
But
it's awesome.
I think it may not be the only one.
It might not be.
I don't know.
as someone who, has been burned a few times in life, I might have some trust issues. The thing is I am prone to give people the benefit of the doubt and naively trust people who I probably shouldn't trust a lot of the time. And I've become aware of this, so maybe I'm less gullible than I used to be.
Yep.
Nonetheless, as I'm there and like experiencing what I thought was just awesome, and it really felt like my path led me there, and it really felt like this place feels like home, and I'm connecting with my people. I had to have that little negative voice in my head like question if it was like real. Is this real?
Haven't you felt this before?
Is this too good to be true? You know, like these people are going to use you or whatever, you know? And so I really had to like analyze that and look into that. Like, where is that coming from? You know, is there something that's happening right now that is making me cause this? Or is this just past experience raising doubts? I mean, so far it's been all good. And any issues I've been finding is just like my adjustment to the world that has brought me here.
Perception bias.
Yeah, perception bias for sure. Which it's important because I am definitely getting intimately involved with the SoHA community on some ways. You know, the music part, that's a no-brainer for me, to play music with conscious people and play with people who are appreciating the content of my music and believe that it deserves a platform. I try not to let it get to my head, but I think it's awesome that like I feel comfortable expressing myself there. Music is something I could just go up there and play. But that's not all that happens there. There's more to SoHA than just music. It's also a place for art and a place for healing. And these are all parts of who I am to my core. It really feels like a place that was made for people like me to thrive, to discover and heal, and then pay it forward with creation, because this place is all about conscious creation. If I had gone my first time on a different day, or if I had met David in a different place doing different things, the way it came together, the way events lined up, it set the tone for a good, positive relationship and connection. Because everything that happened that weekend, it brought everything into play. There was the music, there was the stuff that I made that I brought as my contribution, and then there was like the spiritual side that I expected to find there. But
you don't know what it's going to feel like, what the shape of it is.
There's a lot of so-called spiritual people out there that have so-called spiritual communities that
ruin it for everybody else. When you said that you had this like question pop up in the back of your mind, like, am I about to get burned here? Finding a place that feels safe for me. And is it really actually safe? Anything that looks like an intentional community, like people coming together to pool resources, mental resources, whatever it is, as a society, we immediately think of all of the ones that have gained notoriety because there's something wrong. There's an ulterior motive. There's something more that's going on that corrupts it. There's just a negative connotation societally about intentional community type spaces. And I'd like to freaking demystify that, because I mean, I was raised in cults. I am familiar with cults and people that band together and are like, we have the good idea and everyone needs to see the world the way we do, which is problematic when you live in a human society. And there is so much popping up that just doesn't have that energy to it. It's just not. It's just people who found healing, and they find other people who are also finding healing that they can resonate with. And together they create art to try to make the opportunity for more people to find whatever language they found, and to just keep spreading that healing. And it isn't about a place. It isn't about an idea. It isn't about anything other than just basically, it almost feels like it's happening on a different plane. Higher consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Buzzwords. Where's the buzzer?
You know, that's absolutely something that crossed my mind recently. I want to be operating at that level, and I still haven't gotten there. But it's exactly like you're saying. It's like some people are.
We're all on the spectrum, though. You're operating at the part of it that fits you right now. And there's a whole world full of people who are going to be benefited by collaborating with the energy that you bring, the healing energy you bring, the healing knowledge, the language you've learned. Really, it's all about language.
True that.
We all just experience it as raw emotions inside. How do you find language so that you can begin to make sense of what's happening so that you can build a foundation so that you can start building on top of it? So no matter where you're at, if you're on the healing journey, you're on the healing journey. And if you're not, you're not.
You're right. I'm still prone to making comparisons that only exist in my mind.
Well, it's hard not to when you've spent your whole life seeing yourself as less than.
Yeah.
That's speaking for myself. I feel like I've been able to resonate with a lot of the language you've used. So,
Yep, likewise.
imposter syndrome's a bitch.
Sure is. Ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
So right now there's a big transition happening with SoHA, with me relating to SoHA more so. My other Justoneus Creations product is called Coaster Cubbies, where I can make nesting boxes out of different shapes, and the byproduct is coasters, and it makes it so like my material waste is very limited. It's interesting little design, and they liked them, and so I use this product in two ways, or I market it in two ways. The geometric shapes lend themselves well to sacred geometry, so I will engrave the coasters and the box lids with sacred geometry, and then use an oil wax finish on it so that they're drink ready. Or I also make them plain without any engraving and unfinished so that people can paint them. Because I really like when people paint the stuff that I make.
Adding that art element in
Exactly.
to your physical crafting.
Yeah, the coaster cubbies that are blank, they're a lot less expensive, and you can paint them and resell them, paint them and gift them. But they really liked them, and we're thinking about maybe like branding them somehow, because I brand everything too with my laser engravers. I can't remember exactly how everything happened there, but at some point I just felt inspired to approach the possibility of maybe they would like to be able to make the kind of stuff that I make on their land. And
Put a shop, like
put a shop out there.
For this kind of modular artistic crafting.
Or for whatever. They were talking about different things that we could make and that, we could do with what I have. I'm like, well, do you think it would make sense to have the capacity to do that here? And they're like, yeah. So
The Crafting Guild.
So I'm moving Justoneus Creations to SoHA.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. We're constructing a garage for it.
Oh, wow.
Up there. Timeline's not completely laid out yet, but it should be happening fairly quickly.
Well, that's a testament to how comfortable you feel despite the cultural, just like in all your past history. You feel extremely comfortable. That's a big opening of yourself. Like, that's a big risk.
It is a big risk. And
you have to trust. That's how I want to live. I want to live a life where I'm just living on trust.
That's how I want to live too.
Yes.
I definitely feel vulnerable now with this decision. And I'm also in the position again where, like, if I'm going to be breaking down my shop and moving it, it's probably not the best time to start pushing Bounskee really hard again. So I got to wait until I'm set up again to really start pushing, because I'm like right there now. I'm so close. The last thing that needs to be done before I do like a proper marketing campaign with Bounskee is to get that homepage of the website more effective from a marketing point of view, because it looks pretty-ish. And it's very informative if you have the patience to look around. So I think that needs to be done now anyways. So.
Sounds like you may have some time to do that.
Yeah, I think so.
It's all working out.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And I just see so much potential. Not to mention that it's 142 acres of forest, and there's wood up the wazoo right there. And I make things out of wood.
Sounds like you have a sense that you're sitting at the edge of a lot.
It is,
and it's like
frightening.
Okay, so here's the story. Here's the picture that's happening in my head as you're kind of describing all these things. It's like the Niagara Falls. It's like an enormous waterfall, and you're like floating above it in the Placid, and you've just been going along for a long time, and you really want that rush. You want that volume and that power. It's like your fingers are trailing in the water, and you can just start feeling the tugs of the current getting a little stronger and a little stronger, and you know what's coming. Do you know exactly what it's going to be like? That was the mental image that was playing in my head.
No, that's good. That's probably pretty accurate.
For most people, in a river or waterfall, it's a bad thing, but in this case,
no, it's a good thing.
That's what you want.
But it's nonetheless scary.
Terrifying.
Like,
because it's unknown.
It is unknown. And honestly, like, I don't think I've always been this way, but I have somewhat of a shame story about certain things. And so I don't think that I was necessarily all this way when I was really young, but now I'm kind of spotlight averse. I don't want to be the center of attention. I don't want to be the front person in a band, but I love being in a band and co-creating with people. When I say I don't want to be, it's like, this is only a part of me talking.
It's also a personality gradient.
Yeah,
You're not ever 100% one thing.
Exactly. Because there are things that I'm not proud of, and I have this unreasonable expectation of myself to only present good things, and that's not humanly possible.
Nope.
I become adverse to being the center of attention. But with the things that I want to do, I want Bounskee to be big, and that means that I'm going to be known for that. My music could potentially reach a lot of people, and if it does, then there I am again in the center of that attention that like I'm afraid of.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like there's kind of two different things. You're a little bit afraid of being seen, of really being the center. But on the other hand, it sounds like in your personality, you just don't really have a drive to. Am I hearing that correctly?
My motivation is the act of doing, not the notoriety or the
You want to
fame.
do the creation, yeah. That's not a good or bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. I want other people to benefit from what I offer.
Yeah. Yes.
More than myself.
Yes. You want to share your healing.
Yeah. And it certainly would be nice to finally be fully comfortable in my own physical comforts and lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. It would be really nice not to have to always be trying to figure out how to make the bills meet at the end of the month.
Totally.
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
But
please.
That's not my motivation, and it never has been, which is always added to that struggle.
But finding money is going to solve money problems.
It does.
Nothing else. I really appreciate meeting you.
Indeed.
And I appreciate you coming in to have a conversation. And I look forward to making whatever connections come out of this. And you briefly alluded to your little philosophical math problem thing. The whole theory is from a base standpoint of asking yourself, who am I? And I'd love to dig into that because I thought it was super interesting. I'd love to learn more about it.
Absolutely.
When we have more time.
Yeah.
When we're not brain tired.
It's a sort of chakra model that I believe can be used as a tool for self-diagnosis of your energy imbalances. But then to actually use that, it requires a certain amount of self-discipline, which I struggle with myself.
Yeah.
Seeing the connections between different aspects of your being, it really helps with my perspective on being human. You know, it helps me have understanding for other people when I might not find anything to understand. There's still that core humanness that we have. And so this theory, for lack of better words, and the model that it provides, I think it can be useful in understanding the human condition and ourselves.
It's a language to help to make sense of the abstract garble of emotion inside us.
Indeed.
And I look forward to digging into that. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Michael.
A lot of love and deep thanks to Buddy Anderson for his original music and audio engineering. This podcast sounds the way that it does because of his heart and the way that he listens. Explore his sound at From Another Mista on Spotify. Well worth the listen. And to Angela Cook, our producer, thanks for holding the vision, weaving the threads, and helping every episode land with clarity and care. To every one of you who's subscribed, listened, shared, or just felt something along the way, thank you. You're part of this too. Your attention is sacred. I don't take it lightly. Stay curious. I'll see you next time.